Hello, I'm Bruce Hart, and I'm here to talk about the production with Friends Like These. It's a gay comedy, campy, a farce, and it is a spoof on the 1939 film The Women, only we have sexy guys instead. It's playing at the Long Beach Playhouse through their collaborative program. And if you'd like to find out more about the show, please listen to this interview. Thanks.
Theater experience, why is it such a unique format, both for the audience and the actors?
The theater experience is very unique for actors and for the audience because it's real time, it's live. I would say the only other thing you could compare it to were the old sitcoms that were done in front of a live audience with three cameras, like maybe Three's Company or the Golden Girls. But going back to pure theater, and I'm seeing a huge return since the pandemic. People want to get out there and they want to laugh. They don't necessarily want to sit through the long dramas, but they want to laugh. But there's this immediacy, it's an electrical current. It's a little hard to describe, but as an audience member, I love it when I'm in the theater and I see everything happening, including the mistakes. You see the sweat sometimes, all of that. I don't love the shows that are super slick, that some of the touring companies that come in that they call like jukebox musicals. Everything's a little pro forma for me, but true, genuine, raw live theater is amazing. And as an actor, both connecting with the audience, you hear that laugh, you know that they're enjoying what you're doing, and also that electricity between you and the other cast members. It's like a wonderful tennis match. I tell people it's better than having a good meal. I hope that answers that question.
Where did the idea come from taking the original movie, The Women, and adapting it into this new version called With Friends Like These?
Gosh, my friend Paul Vanderhart just loves the movie The Women, and I've known Paul for years, since we were like in our 20s, and he's loves Rosalind Russell in particular. And so I watched the movie too. And I actually like the Joan Crawford character who plays the villain. Goes through all these levels that it's a very different Joan Crawford if you've ever seen any of her other movies. She's basically trash. She works behind the perfume counter and wants to marry up and get money. But the idea, Paul said, what if we did this? There's a lot of gay theater going on up in West Hollywood, he said at the time. What if we did this play up in West Hollywood? I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm game. I said, what if I produced it? He said, well, I also wrote a role for you. He wrote a role for me in it where I play an adaptation of the Rosalind Russell character. So we workshopped it in Long Beach first, and then we took it up to West Hollywood, Los Angeles area. But the idea actually came from him, and I tend to, as he writes or other people write, if they want to bring me into the equation, I'll think of, well, maybe we could simplify that, or what's going on with this plot point. My brother, who I produce and write movies with, told me I'm excellent at not only plotting, but fixing challenges within the plotting.
For those people who never heard The Women, tell us what the story is about With Friends Like These.
Oh, sure. The movie's from 1939, and truthfully, it couldn't be made today. They've tried to remake it a couple times with women. They even tried a contemporary retelling, I think, with Meg Ryan. And they had to, of course, put more pro-women messages into it. The Women is about wealthy women of an era, I'm not even sure they really even existed back then, that have nothing but time on their hands. And it's all about all the things they do: shopping, going to the salon, gossiping, getting divorced. It's actually quite a comical story, but it's a little shallow. And if you should never do this, you should not apply the lens of today to projects of yesteryear, because there's different morality and different values. So it's kind of sexist and kind of misogynist, the original film. But translating it into a modern audience, particularly if you're going to make it about men, and particularly gay men, you still have to be careful. When we first produced this play back, I don't know how many years ago, quite a few years ago in LA, it was a different time period. I think Dynasty had just gone off the air, and people liked bitchy. They liked rude. People don't really like that as much. So we retooled the story a little bit. and we framed it around the entertainment industry, which is the closest thing where you can have a lot of gossip and a lot of fun stuff and a lot of glamour in today's world. But we also added a great deal more humanity. The original story, Norma Shearer is the character whose husband is cheating on her, and you never see the men; it's only the women. And she just wants to get him back. She's in love with him. That doesn't really resonate as well in a modern story. So the central character who's going through this same problem, a man, a gay man, he is saying, yeah, and I share some of the problems. I share the reason why he's stepping out on me because our relationship has fallen apart and I haven't been working at it. I think that's a much better story because now you have a man who wants to work on his relationship. So I think we've done a pretty good job with keeping all the farcical fun stuff and very campy, but also making it more of a modern tale.
Tell us more about the themes of With Friends Like These.
Oh, yes. Okay. The themes of the play With Friends Like These, which is at the Long Beach Playhouse for 3 more performances, is really about how older men, older gay men, and I guess you could apply it to heterosexual men too, are really not any more mature than kids in many ways. We have adult problems thrust upon us that we have to deal with, but we still get jealous. We still, some of us still drink. We go out, we party, we flirt. Even if we're in a committed relationship, we check other people out. And sometimes we get into huge arguments, you know? So I love tearing back that curtain because having been in the entertainment industry for so long, I can tell you as you get older, particularly as an actor, the writers a lot of times are younger and they don't understand how to write for older actors or characters. And they become stereotypical. Like I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole too much, but a grandfather of today would not be the you know, hi kids, how are you? The grandfather of today probably partied in the 60s. So they're actually going to be a lot more hip. But a lot of times I'll receive scripts as an actor and I'm reading them and I'll say, this is an anachronism. That character today would not be like that. So anyway, going back to themes, there's a wonderful, wonderful theme of friendship in this that goes throughout, and how even when you maybe betray or have a falling out with a friend, if you have a lot of equity in that friendship, oftentimes it's good to return and try to rebuild and repair. There's themes of loyalty, and of course, there's sexy, shallow guys who are just out for a good time. So I think there's a little bit for everyone.
Well, talking about the production, tell us more about the actors and how they're bringing this updated production to life.
Oh, we have an amazing cast for this reboot of the show, and the actors that we have in this cast are really doing a bang-up job of bringing this new story to life. Because the show has a lot of younger actors in it, when we brought it back, obviously not everyone from 10 years ago could come back because they were, you know, too old. But we have some absolutely amazing actors. Gary Matthew is in it. He's playing the masseur, who in the original film was a manicurist, but he's the gossip character. And Gary and I worked together very recently in another film that's coming out, in December called Fathers of the Bride. It's a Christmas movie. We have Robert Anaya, who's playing Trevor, who is the comparable to Crystal, the Joan Crawford character in the original film. Robert is just incredibly talented. He worked for us in our last stage show, and he's playing a radically different character. And the levels of, because he's basically trying to get ahead by trying to get this older gentleman to marry him and be his husband so he can get all of his assets. We just have an amazing group. We have Randall Goddard, who's playing the central character who finds out his husband's stepping out on him. In the original play, by the way, his husband was stepping out on him a lot. We changed all that. And this one, no, it's a one-time thing. That's why Randall is so hurt. It plays better. Paul, who wrote the original script, is in it. Paul VanderHart. He's playing a writer who's worried about losing his position with this production company because he's getting older and the younger guys are starting to crowd him out. I'm in it. I play the Rosalind Russell character. I'm an executive producer for this television company, and I am more like a kid than a mean person. I just like to stir the pot. And we have a really brilliant actor. His name is Ben Trotter, and he's done everything from Shakespeare to Lifetime movies. And he plays my best friend in the play. And but in this version of the play, he has sort of a secret crush on my character, which you get to see play out. He's so funny denying it. I think we have so much energy in the show, and we have a really wonderful actress, Melinda Parker, and she's playing Channel 12's local gossip columnist. She comes on and talks about Hollywood gossip, but she augments her paycheck with a subscription-based blog where she really tells the dirt. So everybody's nice to Donna, but they're also scared of her. So I think there's a lot to keep people engaged, and we all keep each other on our toes.
What do you want the audience to get out of with friends like these?
Well, what I think I would like the audience to get out of this show is fun. I want them to laugh. I want them to see a little bit of themselves. And, just because the characters are gay does not mean somebody who's not gay can't learn something from this. Just like gay people watching most television shows don't see gay characters, but you still learn and get something out of the relationships. I think we've kind of moved beyond worrying about that kind of stuff. But I think people not only are going to laugh, but they're going to see humanity. They're going to see a little bit of themselves in these characters. I know I've had a bunch of people come up to me after the production and they say, "Oh my God, yeah, sometimes I'm just like your character. My character is Sydney." So if anything, I hope they laugh first. Second, I hope they see a little bit of themselves, maybe learn a little bit more. And three, I hope they go and tell other people to come see the show.
Well, to add on to that, why should or must viewers attend the production of With Friends Like These?
Why should people attend our show? I think they should attend it if they want to be entertained and if they want to do something different than turning on Netflix. There's something different about live theater, and there are different types of live theater. Like Disney has a whole lot of very well-crafted shows. They're musicals like The Lion King and things like that. And there's a lot of what I call jukebox musicals that come in, and everything's pre-recorded for the most part, the sound, the orchestra, all of that. And then they're slick and they're entertaining. I think there's something different when you go to a more like a black box show like ours is. It's a 99-seat theater. Because you get to see everything real time. You get to see the set changes. You maybe get to see a blunder on stage, which can be fun sometimes. Oh, that can be fun. We haven't had any major blunders on this one. If I can digress, though, years ago, I was doing a play and my character was talking to somebody on the phone, and the actor that I was talking to, his character, he walked on stage. And I said, "Well, if I'm talking to you here, who are you?" It was really funny, or something like that. And then I handed him the phone and I said, "It's for you." We had to stop. We had to start over. But stuff like that is fun. And I think there was such an industry not even that long ago with this type of theater, and they would get in like a TV star or somebody like that to headline the show. I would love to see a return to that. I think people are starving for this type of entertainment.
Do you want to mention about how the opportunity you were able to use the Long Beach Playhouse facility, that the program that allows you to show your theater production in Long Beach?
The Long Beach Playhouse used to be strictly a 99-seat waiver union theater, and you couldn't rent the theater. I know because I tried, which is one of the reasons I produced so much theater up in LA, because back in the day, they had a lot of theaters. The rules all changed for 99-seat waiver, and the unions basically made it impossible for anybody to do anything. Long Beach Playhouse did a wonderful thing. They shifted away from doing, union productions, and they formed a group called the Collaborative, which allows people you have to pitch your story. And you can do 3 nights, when you're 2 nights in a matinee, or you can do 6. And it depends on your pitch and whether or not they think it's appropriate for the Playhouse. And we took a gamble a year and a half ago on another one of our older shows, my producing partner Paul VanderHart and I, and show was a hit. It even sold out on Super Bowl Sunday, which was amazing. So we took a year off because I produce films also, as I mentioned, and I was doing some other things. And then this current year, we said, well, why don't we bring one of the other ones from our catalog back? So we did the same thing. We, of course, had to submit to the collaborative, and we were accepted. The collaborative is a wonderful opportunity. Now we do kind of more lavish shows, but it's also a great opportunity for people to workshop maybe two-person shows. My friend Noah Wagner did a brilliant play about Ted Turner, and it was a one-man, actually a two-person show because there was a voice that came out and talked to him. But you get to try everything. I think somebody last time did Agnes of God. So it's a great way for maybe somebody that wants to start out or somebody that's more established like Paul and myself that just want to have fun and do something. I'm very grateful to the Long Beach Playhouse. It's a beautiful space. And most importantly of all, they have parking.
Well, let's talk now about your theater, VanderHart Theater. Why did you two want to create it? And why do you think it's an important theater in the SoCal community?
Why did we create VanderHart Productions and why do we think it's important? I think it was really me driving it. Paul loves to do theater, but I was like, no, we need to have a company. We need to hang out a shingle. And mind you, VanderHart Productions has been around a long time. This was back, I want to say in the mid 90s when theater was really a thing up in LA. They had a whole row of theaters. They called it Theater Row, and everybody had a show. We had a show. We were all seeing each other's shows. And so it was kind of an amazing time. And so if somebody saw VanderHart, they knew, oh, okay, it's one of those gay campy shows that they're doing. They're all kind of frothy with, bright lights, nice costumes, attractive people. And we've hung on to VanderHart Productions. In fact, I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. One of our biggest hits was a play called Naked Deception, and somebody gave us the money to make it into a movie, and we made it into a film called Homewrecker. And that one was produced under VanderHart Productions name also. And Homewrecker has become a cult classic. It's a spoof on Lifetime movies, and there are no DVDs available anymore, and the ones on eBay get bid way up. And it's still on a few streaming platforms. Since then, my producing partner Paul has moved on, and he formed another company. He produces murder, mystery, and dinner theater. And I formed another company called Hart Brothers with my brother Paul, just exclusively to produce films. So we've got these two things going on, but I don't think people ever get them confused. If they see VanderHart, they know it's a play. If they see Hart Brothers, they know it's going to be a film.
But why do you continue doing this theater production theater? Why do you think it's important for the SoCal community to see these great productions?
Why do we continue doing these productions, and what do we get out of it? I think is also a great follow-up to that. Just for the fun of it. I honestly think since the pandemic and since lots of really bad things have been happening here and there, people are less happy and they want to laugh. And I know for me, after the pandemic, I was scared to go anywhere for a while. Till one day I said, Bruce, you got to get up and live your life. And I said to Paul, Paul VanderHart, I said, I think people are going to want to come out and laugh. Why don't we just do this and see what happens? We'll see if people are scared to sit in a theater. And it turns out they're not. And I think we're going to see more of it. I think the Long Beach Playhouse is one. I think there's another one in El Segundo, the name escapes me. I think we're going to see a rebirth of theater. And I'm not talking about touring companies that come in, which are fun, like Wicked and shows like that. I'm talking about more original productions. And I know there's just a ton of actors now. I found that out when we were doing this one that do this. They will drive anywhere to do a show. Now, as an actor, I probably wouldn't do that for theater. It's so hard to get around in Los Angeles, but they're younger, so they're willing to make the drive. One of our actors, I believe, is driving in from Silver Lake to Long Beach, which is kind of a hike. So personally, I get fulfillment by filling the house and hearing the laughter. And I think at some point I'm going to produce shows and not even take a role because I genuinely just enjoy producing.
What would you tell other actors, directors, and playwrights why they should get involved with VanderHart Productions?
Oh, why should people get involved with our production company? Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to expand that question. They could get involved with our company, but we don't produce consistently. We produce probably one a year. But they should certainly look at other theater opportunities. There are opportunities in Westminster. The Long Beach Playhouse, aside from the collaborative, which we're participating in, does a ton of theater. They should definitely go and audition and seek out those opportunities. And again, even up in Los Angeles, there's still some theater. We're seeing a little bit of it coming back. There's hardly any theaters anymore. I think it's important as an artist, as somebody who likes live performance. There's a Shakespeare theater. I live up in an area called Bixby Knolls. There's a Shakespeare company, and they do open casting calls all the time. If you are genuinely interested in Shakespeare, is a very specific type of performance, but I think it's just really important. And let me tell you another thing it did for me as an actor years ago. I was really shy. I was not very outgoing. Doing that first play I talked about in junior high school, I think seventh grade, it made me feel more self-aware. It was easier to have conversations. It was easier to get up in front of a room and talk to people. So I think it does a lot. And it improves our social skills if we want to put a little label on it.
Why are theaters like VanderHart Productions so important, and why should the community get involved and help and support your theater?
Why are theater companies like VanderHart Productions so important? And I know that really extends to other production companies and people that produce. I think it's important to support because if people don't come to the shows, we'll stop producing them. And I mean that's the short answer. We don't ever take any of the money that we make above and beyond the costs of paying the actors and the production costs for ourselves. We always donate it. We're earmarking some of the money this year for the Long Beach Center, which is for LGBTQ plus people, only because they don't receive a lot of funding anymore. So, I mean, you might want to look at that too when you go see a show. Where's the money going? Is this person just doing it for their own profit, or are they doing it for the community? And but not all shows are for the community. I'm talking specifically because this is more of a LGBTQ plus show. I hope I answered that question. I just think it's important to support. We never ask for donations. We don't need to, fortunately. That's another thing, though. Sometimes even the Long Beach Playhouse, I think, asks for donations. They need it. They have taxes on that building. They have the expense of running that electricity. And it's becoming more and more expensive to do everything. If you think the price of eggs are high right now, the price of electricity is astronomical for a theater company.
Where would you like to take with friends like these? Would you like to take it up to Hollywood or the fringe festivals? Where, if you can, where else would you like to produce this theater production?
Oh gosh, where could we take with friends like these after it closes at the Long Beach Playhouse? Probably Palm Springs. I think that's where our best audience would be. It's already played up in Los Angeles. In fact, there's a center up there. I don't know if they call it LGBTQ center or not because I live in Long Beach, but when it was first opening, they opened a theater there called the Renberg. And this play was the first show to open in that theater. And it was so early on, they didn't have lights. So we had to bring in our own lights. And we did it as a fundraiser. We raised, I don't know, several $1,000s for the center. So this place walked around quite a bit. And I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to take it on tour. I don't think that's going to be possible with this show, to be truthful. It's got a large cast. With Los Angeles still being a film-centric town, a lot of the actors are going to want to stick around and try to get parts on television or things like that. But I could see one of our shows with a smaller cast doing that for sure. And on another note, which is unrelated to theater, every movie that I've produced with my brother, we have, taken them different places. There's film festivals and things like that. And it's wonderful. It's so wonderful to go out there and hopefully spread the joy.
Is there anything else you want to mention about the play that I didn't ask about?
Is there anything we haven't covered? I don't think so. I just would like to say that this show is only running for another weekend. And then we might open it again somewhere. But just if you really like theater, don't necessarily just go see our show, but check out The Collaborative at the Long Beach Playhouse. And it's so easy. You just log onto their website, the Long Beach Playhouse, and click on The Collaborative. And if you don't want to see one of the collaborative shows, look at the catalog of shows that they're doing. I think the piano lesson is playing in their main auditorium right now, and that's an amazing show. So if you're local to Long Beach in particular, there's a ton of stuff that you can see. And it's not very expensive either. The tickets are usually like $20. And parking. It includes parking. Hi, I'm Bruce L. Hart, and I'm the producer of With Friends Like These, which is playing at the Long Beach Playhouse. It's an LGBTQ plus farce, way over the top, and it's a spoof on the 1939 film The Women, only of course it's mostly men. It's really fun, and I hope you can check it out at the Long Beach Playhouse. And don't forget, the Long Beach Playhouse has parking.